Hello, it's Colin again, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I'll be talking about the different key terms that are portrayed in The Maze Runner. First, for some background information. The Maze Runner is a dystopian science fiction movie that is focused on a group of kids that are stuck in a maze with the sole goal of trying to escape. These kids are placed in the maze by an organization called Wicked, which has used these kids as test subjects to try to find a cure for the flare virus that has infected the world. I will first be talking about the relation between Thomas and Mino, then continue to talk about the marriage of the teenagers out of the maze. I will then discuss the dehumanization and Gianto power of Wicked, and finish with talking about the animacy of the Grievers. The first scene that we will look at today is the clip when Thomas runs into the maze to try and help Mino pull Albus out of the maze. As you can see in this clip, Mino is pulling Albie back to the clade because Albie had gotten hurt in the maze. Thomas, realizing that they weren't going to make it, decides to run into the maze and try and help them. However, he barely makes it through as the walls close around him, trapping him inside the maze along with Mino and Albie. This scene portrays the start of the relation between Mino and Thomas, because Thomas basically sacrificed his life to help Mino, which created a bond between the two. This relation continues to grow throughout the movie and many other scenes, such as when Mino doesn't let Thomas go into the maze alone and offers to go help him investigate the dead Griever.
I think it's time we find out what we're really up against. Alright. You're not going back out there alone. Meet me in the woods in half an hour.
Mino continues to build a relation with Thomas when he shows him the map of the entire maze.
There's nothing left to map. I've run every inch of it myself. Every cycle, every pattern. If there was a way out, we would have found it by now. Why haven't you told anyone this? It was Albie's call. People needed to believe we had a chance of getting out. But maybe now, we have a real chance.
This again strengthens their relation as this map is highly secretive, which shows that Mino trusts Thomas. Next, we will talk about the marriage of the teens out of the maze. According to the Oxford Dictionary, Maron refers to people who escaped slavery to create an independent group in a community away from slavery. The Oxford Dictionary also distinguishes between two different types of marriage, petit and grand. Grand marriage is defined as being carried out by multiple individuals or small groups, while petit marriage is characterized by an individual escape. In The Maze Runner, grand marriage is portrayed as a group of teens break free from their enslavement in the maze. This is shown in this scene. As you can see in this scene, Thomas, along with the other teens that were once trapped in the maze, were able to escape their enslavement of the maze into the real world. We will next talk about the Gianto power of Wicked and the dehumanization of the teens in the maze. Wicked shows power over the teens by dehumanizing them. They do this by creating lethal traps, releasing monsters that try to kill them, and treating the teens as test subjects, not as humans. In this scene, dehumanization is shown.
The young would have to be tested, even sacrificed inside harsh environments where their brain activity could be studied.
As you can see, Dr. Page, the woman in white, talks about how the young would have to be tested and even sacrificed, basically referring to them as test subjects, not humans. Another example of the dehumanization and Gianto power that Wicked imposes is when Wicked says, "As for you, all of you, you're just a few millions orphan. They tested thousands, chose you for the big one, the ultimate test. Everything you lived through was calculated and thought through." Zamini 7. This shows that Wicked will go to any length, even if it means killing thousands of teens to get what they want. Since Wicked has dehumanized the teens, seeing them as non-living, Wicked is able to use Gianto power to control the teens to get what they want. Finally, we will talk about the animacy of the Grievers, and whether we should consider them alive or not. Just for some background information, Grievers are creatures that were placed in the maze by Wicked to guard the maze at night. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, animacy is defined as the quality of referring to something animate. Personally, I think the Grievers are alive as shown in this clip. In this clip, we can clearly see that the Grievers can feel pain, which is a key characteristic of being alive. We do need to draw a line, though, between being alive and being alive in a human sense. In a human sense, we can feel pain, while also being able to feel the pain of others in an emotional sense. Even though the Grievers can feel pain, they cannot feel the pain of people that they are attacking. This view of the Grievers being alive, however, is challenged by many people online. According to a Reddit page, a poll consisting of 89 people resulted in 78 believing that the Grievers are machines, while only 13 people believing that they are human. On this page, the animacy of the Grievers is further discussed with evidence. One statement states that even though the bottom of the Griever's body consists of mechanical legs, along with a giant scorpion tail machine, they still have animate characteristics. As shown in this clip, when Mino pulls the GPS out of the dead Griever, you can see that it's surrounded by muscle tissue and has intracellular fluid dripping off of it. Even though this is a clear indicator of being alive, it is hard to ignore its mechanical legs and scorpion tail machine. So, to reach a conclusion, I think the best way to characterize the animacy of the Grievers is to define them as cyborgs. Cyborgs are defined as a hybrid of a machine and an organism, a creature of social reality as well as a creature of fiction. This definition perfectly matches the description of the Grievers by including the mechanical parts of the Griever along with the living parts. If we were to refer to the books, however, this story would be very different, as there are many indicators that point to the Grievers being alive. But that story is for our podcast next week, when we compare the movie to the book. Unfortunately, that is all I have for you guys today. Today, we explore the relation between Thomas and Mino, analyze the marriage of the teenagers out of the maze, discuss the dehumanization and Gianto power of Wicked, and debate the animacy of the Grievers. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys next week.